because I am an artist, in other senses, I wanted to make my paintings, for example, or my sculptures alive. Because I always show it in an exhibit and it's inert. There's no life to it. And stop motion gave me that freedom and the freedom to understand every job in the production.
Hey, Comment Sensor, thank you so much for joining us today. If you are interested in anything related to show business, you are at the right place. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing you to this extraordinary Puerto Rican filmmaker who I recently met, who I have fallen in love with, Alba E. Garcia Rivas. Please help me welcome her. Hi, Alba, how are you?
I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm so excited about this interview.
How did you get into filmmaking?
Well, I started very young. My father was a director of photography at a television station in Puerto Rico called Guapa TV. And when I was 2 years old, my father brought me to the studios. And since then, he was teaching me how to do green screen, which we have in the back over here, green screen, blue screen. I was very inspired since I was a baby, basically, to be in this world, how my father called it at that time, and still now, that magic box that brings so much into our world, the films that we see, the novelas that we saw in Puerto Rico at that time. And I saw the process. I saw my father was teaching me, look, they have to write a story. Then they do a storyboard. Then these actors are just part of these elements of the story. And then I went to college, and I was more like an artistic kind of person. Since I was 8, I was doing a lot of oil paintings and acrylics, and I sold by high school. I have done so many exhibits, and I sold my paintings to go to college to learn animation, and that's where I found the love for stop motion. And I didn't know what stop motion was until I was in college at the School of Visual Arts in New York. And then I found out about Ray Harryhausen and the Jason and the Argonauts and all these films that I grew up looking at it and fascinated by them, King Kong. And then I was like, this is what I want to do. And that's how it started. It started since I was young, but then because I have this artistic background in sculpting, in painting, in acting, that helped me become the director I am, because I can understand all the elements. I can communicate with the VFX people, I can communicate with the composer and explain to them in the correct manner the language that they speak in music, in film, in acting, so I can understand the whole process and they can trust me. With stop motion, you don't have to have a whole crew. You are your own crew. You are the director, you're the writer, you're the animator, you're the cinematographer. So you have to learn everybody's job. And that, for me, is a discipline I wanted to get first and foremost. Because some people do acting first and then direction, or some people want to go straight to film. But because I am an artist, in other senses, I wanted to make my paintings, for example, or my sculptures alive. Because I always show it in an exhibit and it's inert. There's no life to it. And stop motion gave me that freedom and the freedom to understand every job in the production.
You have a project called Dak Toka Taino, right?
Dak Toka,
okay.
Yes.
So tell me about that project.
That project was, I was in the middle of production with Dangerously Ever After, a stop motion film we're finishing now.
What's the film called?
Dangerously Ever After. That is it's an award-winning film, award-winning book for children's book, and it's about a dangerous princess, and which is totally empowerment, female empowerment, girl empowerment. So I was in the middle of that production, and my friend Heather Henson, which is Jane and Jim Henson's daughter, she was looking because she has this. She has a company called Iret's Puppetry, and then within that company they have this kind of a show that is called Handmade Puppet Dreams. It's a compilation of 10 years of her giving commissions to 3 artists a year. So she was looking for 3 artists for that year. And she asked me, would you like to do a story about Taino culture? No one has done that. And I'm very interested. She's an advocate for indigenous native uh, filmmakers, and she helps the indigenous community. And I was like, I don't think I can because I'm in the middle of production. When I start a project, I finish it. And then Maria happened. A month later, Hurricane Maria happened. And I saw when Donald Trump threw paper towels to the survivors of our island. And at that moment, I just said, you know what? I'm gonna take on your offer. I asked her, I told her, I'm doing it. I wrote a film. I wrote the screenplay in about 2 to 3 weeks, and it became a historic film because I was teaching. I was thinking how my relationship with my grandmother was with me and how I can do this for the next generation, which is my daughter now. So I didn't know that it was going to be so well received. She didn't know that it was such a revolutionary film because I try to tell the truth with puppets, and the truth can be blunt about our colonial status in the island. And I am a person that if I have to say something, I just say it and I don't go around in circles or sugarcoat anything. Our children need to know the truth of what happened to us.
So that project you were able to take out and put up at festivals?
Oh yes, it went to different festivals. The first festival it won was Civil Rights Festival. I was like, damn, I didn't know this festival, this short film, which is 13 minutes, was gonna be already winning the good awards, the ones that matter to me. I don't care about the entertainment awards. I'm not here to entertain. I'm a mother. I'm an educator, and that's what I want to do. And then all of a sudden, boom! It's screening all day at the Smithsonian Museum.
Wow.
And then Moving Image just did a Zoom with me and like upcoming puppeteers based on the exhibit for Jim Henson. And for me, that was a big honor because I grew up with Jim Henson, and I admire his kindness. He and his wife Jane, they were very kind people. They were giving representation to our indigenous people, and even in the Muppets we have Maria, and what an honor to see that happening, and that he was one of those first people that gave us representation.
And how did you get to meet the Hensons?
I met Kirk Thatcher. Kirk Thatcher he worked in many blockbuster films like Return of the Jedi, Gremlins, Muppets. He worked very closely with Jim Henson, and we became friends on Facebook. He's very sweet person. And he said, I'm going to New York and I want to meet you because I see your stop motion. And so we met, and in that meeting they had this showings of Handmade Puppet Dream series, which is Heather Henson's show, at the nearby. I think it was the BAM Studios in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
It's nearby there.
In Brooklyn.
So basically, he said, "Let's go. I got you tickets." All right, okay. And I get there, and he introduced me to Heather Henson. She has seen my work before, but she said, "I don't support stop motion." Meanwhile, when she gave me the opportunity to do Dak Toka Taino, she told me it has to be purely puppets. And that was my first challenge because I never done puppeteering, any kind of live puppetry I haven't done. So when I said, well, let's do it. The first day of directing with live actors and a live crew, I couldn't believe that I have so much poise and grace in that sense, because I never knew that I could manage a group of people in that way, because also in stop motion you have to do it all yourself. And it was so beautiful, the family feeling that I got from them, the respect I have for their craft, and letting them being creative, because I know the acting is a craft, and I just can't like, give a little bit of direction, but the actor will embody that character how I trust him to do it. And that's something I learned, and I want to do more live films because of that. And I just learned so much. And later, after the fact, all the crew comes in and they send me this email saying, "I never been on a set like this before," and thanking me for that. And I couldn't believe that I could do this with live acting. And for me, that was puppeteering, and they opened my eyes, and now I can tell a story. I have a voice, and that for me is, they gave me my voice back.
Oh, that's beautiful. If we want to see the film Dak Toka Taino, where can we see it?
At HBO Max.
Oh, fantastic. And how did you get it into HBO Max?
Oh, one of my producers, Danny Hastings, which from Atomicus Films, he's amazing. He had this. He also owns the film festival, official Latino film festival, and he knows a lot of producers and everybody, and people from Netflix and from HBO, and he pitched it to HBO, and they wanted, because there's no content about our indigenous culture, and let alone puppetry that can teach our children the truth.
That's beautiful. You have friends in animation and stop motion all over the world. How did you start connecting with those people?
Everything starts for my admiration for their work. And they admire my work, I admire their work, I trust them, they trust me, and we built a community. And my first community was a doll making community, because I make dolls. I'm a doll maker as before, and then a puppet maker as well. So I connected with them during stop motion groups on Facebook and LinkedIn, and then they started talking about my work. And then when I did crowdfundings and I started going to different TV interviews and stuff, people were noticing the work, and I shared me even animating in real time animating. So people get excited and they ask me things while I'm animating, and their children look at me, and they recreated, they learn when I'm animating. So on those 6 years, there was a growth. I don't keep secrets on the creative side. A lot of big companies, they decide not to share those secrets. But I come from very poor background, and I never had that choice. While some of my peers, my age, they were working on the Star Wars films in California. My age, they had that because they live near the studios. But I was in Puerto Rico. I didn't have that. Nobody shared the secrets of the industry with me. So I guess I decided there's no secrets. Somebody in Asia can do exactly the same thing that I'm doing here. It's with a different switch of a different way of looking at making a puppet. But I'm gonna share mine without any hesitation. Why? There are children that are gonna be better than me if I don't give them the tools. How are they gonna be better than me? What legacy am I gonna leave if I'm gonna keep everything a secret?
What would 3 secrets be that you've shared with people?
For example, when I do a lot of water animation, usually that's very difficult. You cannot do water animation. You probably, and people cannot do it in CGI because they don't have access to Maya or this big software that are very expensive. So we take a very thin wire that you can hardly ever see in the actual in the camera, and then at the end of the wire you put hot glue, and then you make like a drop shape on top of that, and you make different drop shapes, and then with the wire you can bend it, and so you can do one drop, and you can make the whole replacements of that drop with that, and then you put a little bit of glycerin so the light shine it a little bit more, and then you have that beautiful drop. In sculpting, you're actually sculpting step by step that drop of water moving, splashing. And sometimes I show that, I show how I do it, and my husband, he likes to show how to do mold making and how to do the puppet's body in silicone and how to apply silicone into the mold, how to put the puppet armature and then how to close it, how to open it, how to take the seam out. And those things, they don't teach you in college because they show you a basic puppet. They don't show you the real quality puppet making. And they should do that. They don't. So those things, I just tell them, no, if I can do it in my basement, you can do it too. And people do it. And people come up with extraordinary, better ideas than I, because they saw my
Your
explanation.
tutorial. Yeah, they saw your tutorial.
Yeah.
Is your husband an artist as well?
Yes, he is a master animatronic maker, a master sculptor. He amazing animator. Oh my gosh, a great illustrator. He encompasses all the areas, but he doesn't like to be in front of the camera. He's always behind the camera at all times.
What has been the most challenging shot for you to get?
There was a shot that we have to do 9 times, and it's a 16-second shot. Basically, a 1-second shot is 24 pictures. So a 16-second shot, can you imagine? If a 1 second is 24 pictures, it will take you about 4 hours, or maybe an hour or 2, depending if you're a good animator. But 16 seconds will take about 2 weeks. But we have to start this shot about 9 times, because the camera rig that was going towards the forest to get into the getting closer to the character was it was doing increments that were not right, and then at the middle of the animation it's not going to look good. So we have to start it 9 times, and it took about 3 months to get that one shot. I couldn't believe it. Now when you see the shot, you're like, looks amazing. But yeah, it took that long.
Who have been some of your role models or people that have influenced your work?
Ray Harryhausen, of course, but I wanted to be doing works like Arman Animations, which the founder is Peter Lord. I always wanted to be that kind of like founding of this animation company and doing these feature films all in stop motion. For me, was a dream. It is a dream. Still working on that. And then I get to Annecy in 2016, Annecy Film Festival in France. It's an animation. If the Oscars, it is the Oscars for the animation industry, and it's in France. And I got the chance to go, and I met Peter Lord there, and we became so very good friends, and he became kind of like a mentor to me. And he, whenever I have a doubt or something, he's there for me. If I ask him to help me or something, he's there to give me a lot of advice. And for me, the fact that one of the people that I look up to is as kind as I thought he would be. And I'm so excited that we can, maybe one day we'll work together.
It's going to happen. It'll happen. As a stop motion filmmaker, have you found a Latino community that does that is into stop motion and into animation?
Yes, actually, when I visited Colombia, they had a whole at the university. They have a whole curriculum in stop motion, and I got to teach for a week the college students in Colombia and in Mexico. Mexico is getting interesting, very interesting, because Guillermo del Toro wants to bring production of animation and feature films and series into Guadalajara, and my friends there, one of them is Carla Castañeda, another Latina. She's writing a stop motion feature film with Guillermo del Toro, which I love, because Guillermo loved to give back to the community. And for me, that's something I want to do in the future. And even when students contact me over Facebook, and they ask me questions, I always give them a lot of first praise because they're very good, and second, I give them advice. I am I am somebody that, as a teacher, I love to give back to, especially to young men and women and to children, and because they are the ones who are inheriting the craft, not me. I'm already in the middle of my time, but the next generation is the one that we need to nurture right now.
So for young people who are interested, let's say they're good at drawing, or they're good at sculpting, or they're great visual artists, and they want to get involved in animation, what would you advise them to do?
You can take any camera on a phone. You can get the app that is Stop Motion Pro, and that is a time lapse and also stop motion tool. You can add music. You can do this on your own. You can do paper cutouts of characters. You can use the Lego to just create these animations. And I taught that to my daughter. And that's something the children would love to do with Minecraft characters. So it's something that they can do with their own toys. And they can learn the craft like that. They can even do green screen. I have a stop motion kit for children. Sometimes the parents come to me, he's 5, so there's a kit for it, and you can do it. Just use your phone.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years as a filmmaker? What is it that you would like to be doing?
I want to direct a feature film or a Netflix series, which I already have the screenplay for, and I'm doing a pitch Bible, which is so interesting because I never thought I was thinking that big, because usually my niche was stop motion shorts. But no, I think it's time to expand, and we are working on getting a Netflix deal, because it's necessary to tell my stories, which now is more fantasy, but using a lot of our native indigenous mythology, and also
Yes.
our teachers and our ancestors.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I want to create meaningful films that can stand the test of time, that are universal, that the themes can get to you and make you feel an emotion. I just don't want to do entertaining films just for the sake of entertaining. That's not me. Like I said, I am a mother, and as a mother, I have the responsibility to teach. And that for me is so important, because people who leave legacies are people who have these universal principles. Bob Ross, be happy, even if it's a happy accident. And we have so many other artists that have the influence in children and young adults. That's my legacy, making meaningful films, so maybe in the future they can do the same thing.
What is one of your favorite stop motion films?
Stop motion films, I saw that film for 100 times, I would say. The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
That was the film that got me into making the stop motion I'm making now, The Nightmare Before Christmas. And one of my friends, he worked on that film when he was my age. He was 17 at that time, and he worked on that doing set. And I met him 5 years ago, and we became so close. Fawn Davis. I have the making of the Nightmare Before Christmas book, and I saw a picture of him, and it says Fawn Davis, and I looked up him on Facebook.
I love that you just go for, I want to meet this person, I'm going to meet this person, and take advantage of social media, because that's what I do. I meet people on social media all the time. Where can we see your projects?
Okay, so Dak Toka Taino is at the HBO Max until 2022, I think, or 2021. So all this year and next year, you can see it there. Time Space Reflections, which was the first second stop motion film that I did in 2014, is on Vimeo.
and you can rent it.
Yes,
you can rent
yes.
it. Okay.
On demand. Dangerously Ever After, we are trying to pitch it to Netflix, so that one is still in the works. But Dak Toka Taino, HBO Max, and Time Space Reflections on Vimeo on demand.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. I am thrilled that we have a Latina in this area who is kick-ass and on fire, and I can't wait to see Dangerously Ever After. I know it's going to be huge, and I am looking forward to seeing your projects because you just have such great vision. And as I told you when I first met you, you're a unicorn. You are a unicorn. I love it. You are so unique, so authentic in your own self, and that's what art is all about. Thank you so much for watching the show today, and if you have any feedback, please leave it in the comments. Alba will be in the description. We'll put her website and all her information so you can reach out to her, and if you need any advice or anything, please come and ask. So thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, God bless you and have a wonderful day. And don't forget to keep common sense.